Alrighty, welcome Detroit, Michigan. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm Harvey Freed. Right next to me, the queen of all mortgages and real estate, Becky Alley.
Good morning, everybody. It's a little ominous out there today, but I think we might see some sun later. It's the black moon. It's gonna be a good day.
I'm glad your voice is back somewhat.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think you responded to me. You were texting and doing sign language all week. So good. Welcome back.
Yes, everybody. I have a little bit of a voice back, but it was really, really bad all during the week. It sounded I could barely even get anything out.
Introduce this guy here. He's well known around the area. If you want to do your whole intro.
Yeah, we got the one, the only Jimmy Nelson. He co-hosts Elite Podcast. He is a leader among leaders in the real estate community. He is making sure that, we leave real estate and mortgages better than we found it. And you are a titan in the industry as far as I'm concerned.
Well, thank you, my friend. I appreciate you guys having me on.
All right.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Jimmy, I always see you down at all these great events. Of course, you're with eXp Realty over a decade?
Yeah.
At least a decade. Good enough. So you've been in the industry for a while. You got a lot to share. And you mentor a lot of new agents.
I do. Show
them the way because there's still some interesting things going out there in the world of real estate and leadership and training and coaching. That's all part of it.
Yeah, 100%. And the biggest part of it is, too, is like that's why I still, I'm still active in it, right? Like I have active listings. I've got showings today. You know what I mean? I'm taking buyers out because this market changes so much. You guys know this, too. Mm-hmm. Mortgage side, it changes daily. Real estate changes a little bit slower than mortgages do, but
that's true.
It's still there, right? So being active in the industry, you have to do that to then bump your head a few times and then tell somebody not to bump their head when they do the same thing.
No, for sure. I mean, if you're not active, it shows. Like when you're preaching to these, to like anyone, even people that are experienced, right? Everyone, you have to stay coachable, in my opinion. Uh-huh. And when you are not boots on the ground and you're saying these certain things, when something changes, you're exposed because that means that you haven't really been, part of it the last 30 days because things are changing. Like there's micro pockets of, certain areas are going to be over asking. Some you can, press for concessions. You know how to price out a property correctly, and you have to practice what you preach in life in general, in real estate, no matter what you're doing.
Yeah, 100%. And the market is softening a little bit, right? Like houses are sitting a little bit longer, and so it's again, and then clients don't understand that yet, right? Like on the sell side, on the list side, clients are still hearing, oh, the houses are selling over asking, they're selling in 4 days. Well, that's trailing news a little bit.
Like where?
Yeah.
Yeah, these signs are up for definitely 2 months now. Yeah. I mean, you see some really great houses that might take 90 days to get sold and maybe some readjusting of the price.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the hardest conversation, right? But you have to have those conversations. They're tough conversations. Yesterday, I was talking about somebody else, and we said you have to be able to operate in chaos, right? Yeah. Every day. And the second thing is you have to have those confrontational conversations. And because it is confrontational, because I have to tell you, we got to lower the price on your house. Nobody wants to hear that.
No.
You got to make it you have to make it a non-threatening conversation. And, and one thing that I've actually been really kind of trying to coach people on my side is being able to pick on those verbal cues. Not everyone can hear that distress in someone's voice when they start getting a little bit frustrated, especially on the mortgage side, right? We understand that when we're asking you for a pay stub, we understand that that's a little bit less than ideal. This isn't something that you get all the time. So when you have to go to ADP or wherever your pay stubs are, it's a little bit difficult when you have to do that. So when you can hear those verbal cues of like someone getting a little bit frustrated, be like, okay, how can I step in and help you get these things to make you feel less frustrated? And same with the conversation when you're talking to your sellers, when they think that their house is worth $1 million, but the market is dictating $500,000.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to have a little bit of a come to Jesus or reality talk on where you're at with it, because they're gonna be more upset with you when it's sitting longer. Well, Jimmy, why didn't I get $1 million?
Yeah. And everybody thinks their house is worth $1 million.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody, you have memories in there. It's irreplaceable. Right, to some people. That's what the verbiage really matters too. When I coach agents and talk to agents about that, one of the things I try to get them to talk about is, let's sell your house and get you into your home, right? Because the home is I feel the home. But if we just sell in your house, it's not a big deal. So if I can sell your house and get you into your home,
your new home,
and it feels better, right? Because it's a home and not just your house, right? Let's just sell that old house.
I use the same thing. I say like, let's turn this house into a home.
Yes,
same thing. Where it's like, because we are a part of these milestone moments for our clients, it's a blessing to be in the industry, 2 decades plus, you've been in for so long as well, but that like the evolution of what real estate is. And I will say this though, like this Michigan market almost was a true old school Michigan market this year where we have been 365 the last 5 years, and people are still going to always buy and sell in the wintertime. But it really popped in May, like more so than the last couple of years because it was like nonstop January, February, March. But this year it was kind of like everyone was hanging out like, oh, I'm going to wait till spring. And they really did.
Yeah, I'm looking for a good end of summer right now.
Yeah,
we've got
this
a lot
is
of
like a very
closings.
busy for me right now.
Totally, really busy. I mean, I had a closing yesterday. I know. I was just looking online. There was a lot of closings yesterday at the end of the month. And then, of course, Labor Day sneaks up on us a week from Monday coming up. So there's a lot of closings we're trying to sneak in on Friday, August 29th, next Friday.
Yeah.
Can we talk about why people feel like their face is going to melt off if they don't close on a Friday before a holiday? I mean, I get you want to take a long weekend.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, especially, but if there's occupancy, so occupancy obviously is when you're not getting the keys immediately. But,
Right.
like professionals, like everyone involved, sometimes they feel like their face is going to melt off. And then it pushes and it puts a lot of pressure on the title company too, because if we get a clear to close, a 9 a.m. closing is the same as a 5 p.m. closing on a Friday as it is at 9 a.m. on a Monday. And it puts a lot of pressure on the title agents as well. There's just a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that I don't think the agents understand when they want to close at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
It's a lot that goes on behind the scenes after the clear to close.
I'm not a fan of Friday closings anyway.
No? Okay.
No.
Or a
No.
9 a.m. closing. I mean, we'll do the things, but if anything is a little bit twisted, the title company just does not have enough time to fix some things. And
Right.
it's a lot.
Funny you brought that up. This week was interesting. So a couple last minute situations they're busy. Title companies are busy
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I'm going to cover.
People think it's the lender,
No,
but it's
I'm gonna
not. But
cover their
we
butt.
cover them. We cover them.
I called a client up, and again, he's going to close on Monday. And I said, look, usually by now I've already had your figures. We got them to him Thursday afternoon. Not bad, at least 48 hours before closing.
Sure.
But it's nice to review the figures and then also go over the final details. And a couple things even at the closing that we talk about, such as turning on the utilities, getting those utilities switched over to your name if there's going to be a closing on that day. And there are some other ancillary things that you definitely want to take care of. Title companies are definitely busy. And I even heard it from, I won't say which title company. Someone was getting a root canal. Someone was out on vacation. Harvey were hanging in there. And, years past, I'm telling you, I've had some arguments because I said even to this, I go, look, my file's clear to close for over a week. I'm trying to shine here.
Yeah.
But we have to all work together, Jimmy. And that's really important because you guys on a buy side on this, if you're representing the buyer, you pick the title company typically.
Right. And with that, and then don't forget the insurance.
Yeah. Wait, the homeowners
Don't even
insurance?
get me started on homeowners insurance right
That
now.
I get done right away. I don't know. I don't have
you
snags
should.
there. Talk
you
to me.
should, right? That's the thing you should get done right away. And you're right. Title companies do have a lot of stuff going on. Mortgage guys have a lot of stuff going on. In realtors, we have a lot of stuff going on. The reason I said I don't like Friday closings, right, is because if anything goes wrong, you're not closing till Monday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then everybody's upset. It's happened so many times. That's why I'm like, give me on a Thursday.
Thursday gives you that extra day.
Yeah, Thursday, worst case scenario, we can close tomorrow and everybody will still be happy for the weekend.
Yeah.
But on a Friday, you don't hit that closing time, and it's all of a sudden now everybody waits till Monday, and then they got movers, and they had planned their whole weekend out of moving into the house, and all these things sort of happen. But yeah, it's crazy, and the importance of the title company and everybody working together.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of logistics.
There's a lot of logistics, but everybody has to just work together. I got in the industry on the mortgage side, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I worked for the big red machine downtown, and again, the relationships you have to build in this business, in this industry, are so important. Not only with your clients, but with your mortgage loan officers, with your title companies, with your insurance people, with everybody that has to put these deals together and then move them down the field.
Yeah, and as far as our clients are concerned, we are like the little duckies that are calm on the top of the water and going crazy underneath
Feet
the
are
water.
just moving underneath.
Because it's our job too, is the reason why they hired us is to keep the temperature in the room. And sometimes there's things that are going on. It's our job to fix the problem before you even thought there was a problem.
Yeah.
And just get you involved in, when you're at the closing table, some title companies prefer a wire, some cashier's check. Some people are not comfortable sending wires. Then you have to ask for exceptions. But that's where the relationship comes in. Okay, they know that we are a big box, direct lender. So if we need to make an exception for one of our clients to do a cashier's check in lieu of a wire, they're gonna give that extension because we know we put our money where our mouth is and our money's good. So there's a lot of things that we do that our clients don't even know we do, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Because at the end of the day, like you said, Harvey, you're trying to shine, but we're shining for them. We're shining the light on them so they have an amazing experience. Because whether you buy your first house, your 10th house, you're never going to forget whether it was a good experience, a medium experience,
Right.
or a horrific experience. I feel like some professionals even get in the business because they either had a great experience or a bad experience, and they want to be better for that. So, I love what we do, but it is all about those relationships.
Purchases have many factors. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You got buyers, sellers, different motivations. Sellers' motivations different. Every transaction brings its own set of circumstances. I mean, those two lines, it'll never change, and it's nonstop. There's always this motivation. The occupancy thing, when they're going to move out,
Oh, man.
Chasing money. So one of the things that we find
I
that
like
adds so
chasing
much
money,
stress,
yeah.
chasing money.
Chasing-
So 50%,
Aren't we all?
50% of the folks out there, Jimmy, and you know this because you touched on the mortgage industry when you first started. 50% of the clients, the money's in the bank. So
Yeah.
it's there. These are the funds I'm using. It's there. They did the true pre-approval ahead of time, and we don't touch the money. It's there. It's easy to document. You send in 2 months bank statements. But then there's the clients that are liquidating funds. So we as a lender have to show the liquidation of the funds, get the paperwork, the paper trail, now show it going into your checking or savings account. Now you're able to show up to a closing, draw a cashier's check, wire the funds from that account. That could be a burden sometimes. Folks are moving money around all
Yeah.
the time on transactions.
All the time. And, it's funny because people just don't know what they don't know, right? Like,
Yes.
I sold a house for a client one time, and it was a cash offer. It was an investment deal, and it was a cash deal. And she called me. She's like, "Are they just bringing cash to the closing?" I said, "You're not. No, you're not getting a bag of money. Like, that's
Wait a
not,
minute. Can you say that one more time for the people in the back?
Yeah.
It's not like what you see in the movies. No one's showing up with a briefcase,
Yeah.
clicking both sides and popping it open.
Yeah, not like here's $100,000. I'm just going to give you cash in a suitcase somewhere. That's not how this works. They go, everything still has to be.
My people are
accounted
bringing
for.
in the duffel bags from the back. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Yeah, like it's not a brown paper sack that they're just going to set cash down on the table for
Yeah.
you, right? Like you have to show where everything comes from. I don't care if it's a $70,000 deal, right? You still have to show where all that money comes from.
Yes.
All right, we're going to get things cooking here. 8:12 in the morning. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. We'll take your calls all morning long. 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. All right, we'll keep the higher ups at the company happy there, and we'll repeat that. Of course, the radio show is brought to you by the Hardcore Mortgage Show is brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage bank. Us, you can find Becky and I, 1-800-569-7283, powered by CMG Home Loans, NMLS 1820, equal housing lender in all 50 states. We are a true mortgage bank. We can get every loan done. You name the program, we've got it for you, including some really unique programs such as the All-in-One, which is a really interesting program. And, of course, all those DSCRs, anything you're interested in, we'll hook you up with, including all the down payment assistance programs for all you first-time home buyers. Be sure to call us at Capital Mortgage Funding. Hey, we take your calls here live in the studio, 248-539-9797. And it's Jimmy Nelson is our guest today with eXp Realty. And, Jimmy, of course, we'll dive right into it. Always mortgages and real estate all morning long. Last week, I was totally pumped up about Detroit's vibes. Not only was the weather dynamite, that Woodward Dream Cruise, I don't know, it hit me right this year. Just having all the people in from out of town. I had some family actually in too. They enjoy it. And Detroit's become this great place to move to. We're a foodie town. We're cool with that. We got the sports, obviously, and tons of cool stuff, including Lions football coming up here this afternoon. Jimmy, you got some great listings out there. Let's dive into a couple of the homes and why they would be great for some first-time home buyers and maybe some of the things that are preventing people from diving in.
Yeah, for sure. I have a listing right now in Fraser. It's active, and it's I don't know, it's a big lot, right? So it's 100 by 310 lot in Fraser. Huge. So that's a great lot. That's at 300,000. And again, we're talking about taxes, right? So and then I've got another listing coming up. I got a couple coming up I've got one coming up in Southfield. I've got one coming up in Centerline. So again, first time home buyers, right? Like it's a little bit smaller homes, right? But it's that first time home buyer. And one of the things that I try to coach first time home buyers up on too is like paying this thing down, and then if you do move up, right, to keep that as a rental property.
Yes,
right, and
build
keep that
it.
as
You
an
just
investment.
do a natural step to build your real estate portfolio.
Exactly.
Like if you because we talk about right before the break we're talking about money, right? That is a big thing. Like it is not if you want to buy, it's how you're going to buy, especially first time buyers. It is really difficult for them to save money for the down payment.
Yes.
Right. And especially when they're renting because they're just barely getting by, and it is what it is. I mean, inflation's went up, but the wages are not matching it just yet. But when you are buying another house, we're going to have those conversations. Can we keep this, this existing property? And if you make enough money in a dual income household or whatever your situation is, and you can retain the current property, then we have to look at, okay, where's that money going to come from now? Have you been able to save money to buy the next house without having to sell and use the proceeds? And not everyone has that mindset to do that. But if you can coach someone to do that, you can naturally build that real estate portfolio because, again, part of our coaching is the things that we didn't do for ourselves because at the time we didn't understand it. Yeah. And so now obviously you're in it, you're doing it, and we're like, yes, let's build this real estate portfolio.
And it makes it hard for some of the folks definitely to divorce that, get rid of that rate that they had, that low 3% rate. They bought the house at the right time. I mean, life is all about timing. So you had this great opportunity. The pandemic kicks in, and you're going to be buying a house 2020 to 2023. What a great opportunity to become a homeowner. So some of the folks might want to hang on to those. Yeah. Jimmy, you mentioned it. They become great rentals because their interest rate's low enough where they can really get some cash flow. And maybe let the home appreciate another year or two, and then they'll liquidate the home and get it on the market.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it comes with the coaching of a client, right? Like you got to know what you have to like be involved in this, and again, your partners with your mortgage officers, right, to figure out this system. And it's again things which I have. My son's 21 and 14, right? So if I can teach them what I didn't know,
let me just jump in your body real quick and be like, no, do this.
Yes, exactly. Because all the dumb stuff I did when I was 21, I'm like, and my wife and I joke like, he's way better off than I was because we have conversations like he's not doing anything. I was doing at 21.
I mean, so it's good. It's elevated conversations, but the same thing that our parents used to have with us. But you like in your mind, like better, right? Like, oh, whatever, right? But then you get to this moment in time where it's like, oh, nobody really knows what they're doing. They're kind of everyone's just figuring it out, and you're like coaching people based off of like, okay, well, don't do that.
Right.
We're not going to touch the stove because it's hot, but you can't win the lottery if you don't play.
Right.
And it's teaching the next generation like you got to try because. The more you fail, the more successful you're going to be because that's going to change your trajectory of where you're going in life because I tried that. Okay, that didn't work. But as long as you don't give up on certain things, you're going to be successful.
Right.
Because people are only seeing that like that you popping out of the water like that iceberg photo. There's a reason why it's like that, right?
Right.
Because no one sees what goes on underneath it. So
And it was an overnight success.
oh yeah,
They
they're like,
didn't see
oh,
the 20 years
yeah.
before that.
Jimmy, how you're so good. I want to be just like Jimmy. Like, well, you didn't see me the last like 10, 15
right.
years.
Yeah, you didn't see me banging my head against the wall for 20 years, right? But and one of the things we talked about this briefly off air too was that the struggle that new homeowners are finding, right? New home buyers is then when these taxes are uncapping.
Oh boy.
Right?
Yeah.
Like this starts to happen, and it's at the listing in Roseville, right? That was the original owner. The house is 53 years old, and now the taxes are more than they're tripling, almost, right?
Holy moly.
And it's going to $11,000 a year,
How much is the price of that house?
$370,000.
That makes it a pretty tough sale because of
Yeah.
those $11,000, because that's still within maybe a step up buyer. It could be a first time home buyer who wants to be in that area, maybe grew up in that area
Yeah.
for whatever
But
reason.
that's a huge difference in the affordability of that home.
Yeah.
And the reality of it is on this side, on the mortgage side, and you understand, Jimmy, because you come from this background, is you are stretching some people because it is what they were wanting, what they're needing. And obviously we know whether that's one person qualifying, but it's two people living in the house. So there's other income that might be there, but you have to have those conversations because we get those calls afterwards when they've already bought the house and my escrow's short or my this, my that. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And these are upfront conversations we're having with people because it is very, very important that you know that your payment could go from $1,200 to $2,500, for example, in
Yeah.
that situation, because that's another over $900. That's about $900
About
increase.
$900 a month, yeah.
I mean, that's wild. So that's
Yeah.
very important that somebody understands that that's what they're going to be dealing with, and where's that money be coming from, and that could kill the deal right there.
Yeah, and I had a couple buyers that were looking at this house in Roseville.
Yeah.
and the one just completely backed off once he found out what the taxes were. He's like, I can't afford it. I can't afford that whole thing. I could afford the payment without the taxes. You know what I mean?
I can afford the now payment, but
Yeah.
I can't afford the later payment.
Yeah,
What a huge difference. You talk about, $6,500 a month, $6,000 a year in taxes. Okay, that's even on the heavy side.
Yeah.
And now you double that. You go to $10,000. You're at $833 a month. So right there, you got $333. That's your car payment.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
just at $10,000. So these numbers make a big difference. So when you're approved for a mortgage, when you're pre-approved for a mortgage, this is why, folks, it's not clicking buttons anymore.
No.
If you're doing that, you're really not getting the whole story. We got to get you folks away from that. And if I told you what I know about the inside, about how you're really being treated, you're not getting the service that you need. You're not getting the knowledge that you need. You're dealing with someone because you're the next number. You're the next lead. Deal with professionals. That's why I urge you to call true mortgage lenders that have been in the industry who want to sit down with you, have deep, long conversations. That way you can clear the air and talk about all the different things, including, Becky, homeowners insurance and property taxes. These are two subjects that are part of your payment that have been creeping up. The cost of those have been going through the roof.
Yeah, like actually, so I have another one with homeowners insurance. It wasn't so much the taxes.
Yeah.
And so homeowners insurance company, right? Because everyone knows they've been losing it between like all the floods and whatever.
Hurricanes, you name it.
So in Michigan, though, they're really focusing on the roofs.
Yep.
And they flew a drone over on one of these properties and there was a couple shingles missing or whatever. The cheapest we could find for homeowners insurance for this gentleman was $6,000 a year.
Outrageous.
It was more. It was double the taxes of this,
Right.
even the future taxes of this
At
property.
that point, he's putting a new roof on right away.
Yeah, and then I was
you know.
like, we need to like negotiate that or whatever it is that you're doing or whatever. So like after he gets it fixed, we're gonna help him with the homeowners insurance. But this is like, these are very like problematic things because when we're qualifying for someone, now we're overinflating insurance. We have to take account of the future taxes. But then again, now you don't qualify for this $300,000 house because
Right.
I'm like, immediately I need a homeowner's insurance quote because I don't know what's coming at me anymore. You can't put in $2,400 anymore.
No, that's not going to be enough. I had a client, sure enough, the quote was $3,600.
Yeah.
Calls another insurance company, got it down to $2,300.
Yeah, so like
that's
again,
huge.
we know we have people in the industry that we're going to hit up that we know they're competitive,
Sometimes.
and our association we don't get compensated for it, but we know who's going to do the job, who isn't going to do the job, and who's going to be competitive, and that's the reason why we're going to suggest certain people. But at the end of the day, it's up to you.
All right, we're up against our second break of the day. We'd love to hear from you. 248-539-9797. That's right. The mortgage rates are coming down a little bit. But last week, boy, they inched up for a day or two. We'll explain it all when we come back. 248-539-9797. Keep it here. Back to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, 8:31 if you're just joining us. We're going back to our college days here. Jimmy Nelson with a son down at Alabama.
Yep.
Congratulations. My girls went to Arizona State. We were talking about all the fun stuff. Nothing wrong with Michigan State, and all the great institutions here. I don't care if your kid goes to Hope, Adrian, whatever school you go to in Michigan, getting a great education. Our sports are great here, and getting those kids back into high school starting this week. It might even started last week for some. And Jimmy, I know you're a basketball referee. As you know, I do baseball and football for the state of Michigan. And what a blast. I got on the field the other day and had some De La Salle, West Bloomfield kids hitting it around and getting ready for the season. Just a great time of the year.
It's so much fun, man. Like, again, this kind of gets the back to school vibes. Like, again, everybody can complain about our winter because I'm not a fan of winter either, right? Like, I'm a basketball guy. So everything I do in the winter is indoors. Like, I'm not going outside unless I get to another gym somewhere. That's it. But like once you start to get into where we're at with this summer right now and the weather and then the fall, oh man, it's hard to beat.
Yeah, summer's not over with yet. Get out there and enjoy.
Of course. No, September's like hotter than June or July anyway. I mean, it's so hot in September, whatever. But
you're already waxing your snowboard and you're like, that's okay. You don't need the hills crowded. Go ahead.
No, but I love I love all the seasons, right? I feel like once you adapt to it, it's only when it's so cold you can't get out and enjoy it. But I feel like we are fortunate in Michigan to experience all the different sensations, and there's a reason that's why people are coming from the outside in, is because people are like, Detroit is a dope city. Detroit is like, there's energy here. Our sports teams, like we're being looked at on the national level. I mean, whether it's even college, like little like our cities, like it doesn't matter what it is. Like we have really good sports, we have really good people, and you can get yourself a lake house for under $500,000 too while you're at it to boot. Yeah. And it's like the end of summer vibes, but I don't like it when summer ends. I mean, I will say that, but it's like when the kids go back to school, but this is also a time where it makes it busy because people are trying to get in these school districts as well. Right. Yeah, it is. And that is a big thing. It's a big factor. And I feel like that's slowed a little bit too with the school of choice stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and you don't have to live in the district necessarily to send your kid to that school. I know some districts are trying to go back to that. They are. But again, just to lock that in. But I think, again, good taxes, mill rates, we're talking about all that stuff too. It's you have to pay attention to that stuff. That's where, your loan officers come in handy. So if you're not having those conversations with your loan officers, again, taxes, insurance, all that stuff. But realtors have to realize that part too, right? When we're starting taking buyers out, we have to be conscious and kind of pull up taxes and see, is this going to be affordable at some point? There are some things you can't discuss. Like, I didn't know this, but you can't really get into the school district and really talk about those fine lines there. Yeah, there's we can't, there's specific things we can't talk about, right? When somebody says, is this a good neighborhood? Yeah, what do you think? Let's go there and explain that some of these things. So if you're looking at these neighborhoods, you're out there buying, there's a lot of stuff you could do ahead of time to help not only yourself, but your agent. Sure. Fine line and figure out where you want to be. Go and review these neighborhoods. Go to the board meetings. If you're thinking about being a condominium owner in a particular group of condominiums, you're allowed to find out, call the presidents up, find out when they're going to have their association meetings. You can also, the HOAs and all these subdivisions, find out about if they're replacing the roads. So we got a lot of things that come up. HOA, the Homeowners Association status letter. Yes. Okay. That kind of gives you all the things, but condos are, that they're their own little animal. And I don't think people understand that. Like, when you're out looking at houses, you have to tell your lender that condos is on your roster of things to look at, because that changes the affordability. Because if your homeowners association we're going to factor in $250, and then we find out it's $400, and now you got to factor in future taxes. The homeowners insurance will be a little bit cheaper, but that's going to have a direct correlation of what you're going to be able to afford, whether you're buying a single family home that's already pre-existing. Yeah, and my parents live in a condo, right? And so my dad's on the board of the condo association. Likes to torture himself, obviously. Well, they're retired, good right? Bad though. No, good and bad. He wants to stay busy. How's that working out for him? Yeah, he has nothing better to do, so he rides his bike around and tells people to put stuff away. I'm like, that's never happened. He's like, excuse me, can you please get the bicycle off the grass? But it's funny because then I get calls from once in a while from my dad, like, hey, a realtor called and they're asking about the association and they want the bylaws. I'm like, yeah. They got to know what's going on too. And I said, it could be an investor that wants to rent it out, but they need to know what the percentages is. There's a lot of things that go into this background check of where real estate agents were trying to find a home for somebody, especially if it's an investor who wants to just buy it to have it a rental property, because there's probably not a better rental property than a condo,
right? Because you don't have there's no have to do anything to it. The grass is cut, the snow's done, right? You don't do anything to the outside of it.
It's a heads up for all the associations out there to work with. You got your president, your treasurer of the HOA, and how important it is as a seller to gather all those documents. So you got master deed, and again, these are all online typically, but master deed bylaw, master insurance policy. Becky mentioned the status letter and sometimes even the minutes of their most recent meeting.
Yeah.
What's going on here as lenders, right? We want to know. There are plenty of people walking away from condos all across the United States because these associations blew up.
Yeah.
They weren't managed properly. And now when you're lending money on them, obviously a little prevention, make sure there's nothing goes to foreclosure.
In Florida, right?
You see, it could be Florida's a little scary there.
Florida's a lot. I mean, even it comes down to like who actually is also managing the money.
Right.
Because there's a lot of mismanaging of funds, and that has a direct line to the association going up, or if there needs to be a new roof. Like, so for example, I got all the way clear to close on a particular condo. The association would not give us a status letter. So when they won't give you a status letter, that means that something is coming down the pipe and they don't want, and they're going to blow it up with us. And sure enough, the association was going up from $350 to $700.
Look out.
And once I was like, okay, my person can afford this mathematically, okay?
Yeah.
But emotionally, do they want to?
Right.
And the answer was no. And that was their decision. And so it all blew up at the end. And no one was upset. They all knew it. But I let everyone know, I'm like, hey, the status letter is going to be a problem, I think, because when they don't disclose, they're trying to keep it from everyone else finding out because they had to get a new roof and there was a liability or whatever that was.
There's so much buying power in associations. So again, you talk about what $10,000 is at an interest rate of, let's just say 6 3/4 or something like that. It's like $649.
I like when you do Rain Man.
Oh yeah. So well, let's go 100,000. So 100. Thank you. $100,000.
You just lost everybody.
Yeah, I know. $100,000 in buying power is about $649 a month. So correlate that with your association. So all of a sudden you were looking at $300,000 condominiums because there's an association fee of $600 or something. Well, that's $100,000 of buying power. Now you can look at $400,000 houses and hire a landscaping crew to do your lawn. And they can also plow the snow, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So, again, you sort of have to weigh all that when you're looking at houses. We talk about the numbers and math. Break it down and figure out where you want to be.
Yeah. And, again, realtors, you can help with this. But stay in your lane too.
Oh yes, what's that?
Yeah, like
stay in your lane, fool.
Stay in your lane, man. Like, there's a reason I don't do mortgages anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have that.
No one wants to
brain.
sit over here. No.
Yeah, I don't have that brain that he just Rain Manned out those numbers like that. My brain does not work that way.
It was like 25.7.
I shouldn't have remembered the rate factor sheet. I shouldn't have.
Well, that's okay. That's what he just, that's the experience that you're dealing with.
Right,
It's
exactly.
Like, he is so intelligent when it comes to numbers. I'm very blessed to sit next to him because he
thank you. I'm not that smart.
Well, without even hesitation, he can rattle off stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's very few people that can look at a certain thing and be like, your payment's going to be $1,500
right.
roundabout, right? But
that guy Lawrence Yun from the National Association of Realtors, he's an economist. He can do it. He said slightly better affordability, stronger wage growth has lifted the sales a little bit here, but there's a lot of buyers that have benefited from what's going on in the market, a little drop in interest rates.
Sure.
But there are some buyers on the sideline, and we mentioned it earlier in the show that the wages didn't really keep up with the appreciation. If you go back to 2019 to today, you're talking about home appreciation. This is an average 49% increase in your home appreciation.
Yeah.
That $200,000 house now is $300,000 plus just in the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, and so think about that. Like and we talk about it's not if you're going to buy or when you're going to buy,
right.
It's how you're going to buy, right? How we're going to come up with that money. But if you buy like that $200,000 house that you're waiting for this like magic moment to happen, even just a 5% increase takes it up to $210,000. You now just gave yourself $10,000 in equity for doing absolutely nothing, and
right.
The odds are that your payment's gonna be cheaper than what you're renting. But there's such a chokehold with the expense of rent that it makes it difficult for people to even practice a budget.
Right.
And so they get discouraged, or they're like the lifetime renters because in their minds they think they can't do it. But you have to have the conversation. So whether it's now or later, talk to someone that knows what they're doing. Call us at Capital Mortgage Funding. Don't call us at Capital Mortgage Funding. Call somebody. And just have a conversation about what does your game plan to home ownership look like and how can we map it out? Because it doesn't have to be in 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be in 5 months. But if it's within the next 5 years, start working on the credit, because a lot of times people fall in love with the house, then they talk to us, and then there might be a blemish on their credit. And we don't judge, but I'm going to tell you exactly how to fix something.
Right.
But a lot of times that's also why people don't call, because they're afraid that they're not going to qualify.
Yeah. Yeah, and one of the things I tell buyers all the time, because they're like, "Oh, I want to wait for the rates to come down. I want to wait for the rates to come down. I want to wait."
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, 2s and 3s are probably never going to come back.
Never.
Let's just be honest, right?
That was artificial money.
And we saw that. I'm 52. I saw that once in my life, right?
Yep.
Like that's never probably coming back.
Right,
Right?
you're covered. You're good
another
now.
52 years, it might come back. Who knows? But
Cool.
I won't be here, right?
Yeah.
But at the same point, like to your point, like all these houses are still increasing in value. So if you wait right now, you're losing out on gaining all that equity. Because let's say if you bought right now, okay, and rates drop next year, okay, you can refi. That's one. But the second part is if rates do go down a point, 3 million buyers come into the market. Well, what happens to the equity in your home? It rises because now your home just became more expensive.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you're missing out on getting into that and missing out on that equity.
I got two things. Okay. So, like, there's a lot of people getting into the stock market with Bitcoin, right? So, two things, right? One, if you want to invest $100 million
We'll say the
or
crypto- we'll call it the crypto market.
Yeah,
Get
crypto
in the
market.
crypto
Yes.
market.
So, if you want to invest $100,000 in stocks and whatever you're going to invest in, you need $100,000.
Sure.
If you want to invest $100,000 in real estate, you need $3,000 if you're not getting concessions.
Oh, man.
I mean, so put that in perspective in your brain, and
Yeah.
when you're sitting in front of your Charles Schwab account, you can afford a house. You just have to have the conversation with the right people. And then the other part I will talk about after the break.
All right, we got tons to share with you. It says here that 75% of prospective home buyers are waiting for the interest rates to fall. We got to definitely keep that conversation going here.
Yeah.
All right, keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket, 843. It's a Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. I'm Harvey Freed. She's Becky Alley. We'll be right back with all your calls.
I live in the 90%.
Alrighty, welcome back to the show, 846. If you're just joining us, it's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Again, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. It's where you find Becky and I and a whole staff of folks wanting to help you. We'll get the loan closed for you.
We had some living on a prayer, so if you want to live on a prayer and buy a house at the same time, we're here. Call us.
Tons of information to share with you. The interest rates they're inching down a little, but there was a day this week where they inched up. That doesn't sell newspapers, so you're not going to hear about that.
If you see it printed, it's expired anyway.
Exactly. It's already too old.
We talked about like that commercial, expired. Expired.
That one. First-time homeowners are now like 38 years old. That's creeping up a little bit. First-time homebuyers were a lot younger. I bought my first house. Of course, I got in the mortgage industry at about 23 years old.
Yeah.
So I think I bought my first at 24, maybe just
I was
over
about
24, 25.
I was like 23, 24.
Yeah, definitely creeping up there a little bit. What was so great about buying my first house was it was affordable. I wasn't married at the time, no kids. So
what was your rate then?
It was like 8.
Yeah.
Mine was 6 1/4 because so I bought in 06, and so it was like I got touched by an angel.
Yeah.
When the 6 1/4 came around.
Yeah.
So like here we are.
Yeah.
Rates are in the sixes, y'all.
I think my wife and I bought our house that we're still in our first house.
Okay. What was the original
Okay.
rate?
Snaps for longevity over there, Jimmy Nelson.
It doesn't happen with real estate agents, right? That live in the same house for 25 years. But my rate, I think, was 9.
Okay.
It was 9. Down. Yeah. It was. Now I'm at 3, right? Because we refied at some point because it was 3%. But I think when we bought the house, that's why when people are talking about rates, I'm like, do you know what the 20-year average is? 7%.
We're a little under that right now, sort of. Not for everybody. Again, some of you folks out there might have little credit blemishes and stuff. Maybe it's a little higher, but with no points, it's still about under 7 right now.
And that's a 20-year average.
Yes, and it's strong. And so so with the history of like how we've been, so my other point was talking about property taxes and values and things like that, right? So I remember when the housing bubble happened, right? Again, the ingredients are not there. It's not happening. That's another thing. It's people want to wait for the housing market to crash and then they want to wait for the rates to drop. The ingredients just are not there. I mean, we might see high fives, neato, but that's not going to be this huge dent to your payment. So if you can afford it right now, do it now because you're going to be leaving more money on the table by the equity that you're missing out than if you threw your hat in the ring right now and you continue to pay $2,500 in rent. But I remember people getting upset over their property taxes being higher than what the property values are, right? Well, now here we are. You got the appreciation, but now they don't want the taxes that comes with the appreciation. I mean, so it's a beautiful thing to see that, Michigan and like the housing market, it's very healthy. It is very healthy, but you do have to make sure that you can afford these properties. And that's why working with high-level professionals, having high-level conversations matters. But it's a good thing with the taxes because that means the homes are appreciating. But it's just funny being on opposite ends of the spectrum. And, with me buying my first house, I was just under like when the rates dropped from like 8%. And when they hit the 6s, I was like, yes, please. Yeah. And now we're right there at the same time. So put in perspective, if you have a $60,000 car loan and you're paying 7% on that, your car loan is an easy $1,000.
Yep.
So if you are not clinching your pearls over your $1,000 car payment, why are you clinching your pearls over like less than 7 on a mortgage that's stretched out over 30 years? Think about that.
Hey, look, if you don't own a house and you have a car payment of that high, I'm going to say like $650. You need to tone that down a little bit. I'm under $500 still.
Stop parking your car in someone else's driveway.
No doubt.
That's what we're talking about.
A third of the buyers out there, Beck, 32% of Americans said they would need a mortgage rate to fall below 6% before they're comfortable with it. Well, that's far below the 20-year average, as Jimmy just mentioned.
Yeah.
So, folks, get your head wrapped around this. If you're renting, if you're married, you want to have a family, get more comfortable with what it's going to take to get there. Again, we break down all the numbers for you, and we talk about what's going to happen in the future. We want the house that you're going to buy. We want you to be affordable, and you got to have it's a roof over your head. There's a little bit more to it. Sense of community and everything else that goes involved in it. It has a value.
Yeah, and renting makes sense too. So this isn't a knock on. Like there is a moment in time like where. If you're, like it's just a moment in your life, or we have like a lot of athletes that come in here. We had, who was on here? Like when we were talking about the short-term rentals, I think there's a major thing on that.
Candace.
Yeah, Candace.
Because she worked with a lot of professional athletes that are in and out of town. Yep.
Okay, so there is a very big market for short-term rentals, even like fully furnished. I mean, so things make sense, but again, our job is to help you see something that you might be able to see for yourself. So whether you're renting right now and you want to continue to rent, cool, man. Do that. Do you.
Right.
Do the best version of you. But if you are, the people that we're talking to are the ones that are like, you know what, I think it's time. I think it's time for me to maybe crunch these numbers and teach me how to budget. Teach me how to Dougie. Teach me how to do the things. Like we're here to help you. So just give us a call.
And again, people are scared because they don't know. And
Yeah,
people,
you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know, right? And that's where you guys come in to have that conversation with, to be able to break these numbers
We're
down.
going to get very intimate with your finances.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that, it's like you give the financial enema.
I mean, hey,
I like how you say you don't know what you don't know. And it's our thing. So the burden is on all of us to educate and keep educating and stuff. So as a real estate agent, you want like a real mortgage banker. You don't want someone who got the lead because someone clicked a button or bought the lead. Those are
stranger. That's a stranger.
I talked to someone this week, and I just said after a while, after about 20 minutes of us talking and going really start getting really detailed, A to Z, I said, well, you've talked to a couple mortgage people. Did the conversation sound anything like this? He's like, not at all, Harvey. I take that as a compliment because we talk about everything.
Yeah, but it's what we were talking about too. It's hearing those verbal cues. After talking to someone for 2 minutes, if they actually talk to another mortgage lender because of the certain questions they ask.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to extract some information, but because we are so experienced, these aren't threatening conversations. Like, this is like where you're at. What are you doing right now, and where do you want to go, and how can we help you get there? And if it's not us, that's fine too, but we're going to still assist as much as we can.
There's so much to know. Like, expand your
I can't wait for these
knowledge
trigger leads
bank
to be
and
out
stuff.
loud. When is that, like September or something?
It's already, it passed, but
I know
it's going
it
to take about 6 months.
Oh,
it's
dang.
not. It's going to
I
take
was
like
just
4
going
to
to ask
6
you guys
months.
about that too. That's a whole nother rabbit hole you go down with these trigger leads, right?
Yeah, I call them the bottom feeders.
Yeah, well, and then then there was some mortgage guys that were bringing those to realtors,
Cool,
and saying call these and see if you can get them as I'm like, these they already have
Yeah,
them.
you could buy the yellow pages, I think.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
And
So what
they're
we're
not
talking
real
about
people.
is when your credit is pulled on a hard inquiry. It's the credit bureaus it's not the lender. So people think it's the lender that's selling information.
No.
It's not. The credit bureaus are just giving up a name and number and then what the inquiry is. So they, as soon as they see a mortgage inquiry, obviously it's going out to these lenders. And that's why you're just getting this influx of calls to the point that people are afraid to answer their phone. But then you have some people with occupations like us, we have to answer the phone.
Right.
So even if it happens to us, like, I understand, I'm empathetic, so we put them on the do not call list. But it's basically, we call it a trigger lead. So you're getting calls from all these different lenders, and they do it almost in this like very predatory way where it's like they make it seem like they're associated with like us, and they're not.
Yeah.
And so I'm like right off the ripper, like, if it's not this person on my team, tell them to kick rocks because it's going to be very confusing, and it just muddies up the water.
If you want to protect your identity, call us at Capital Mortgage Funding. We will send you the phone number and how to opt out. You can opt out of the strangers giving
Stranger
you phone
danger,
calls.
people,
Stranger
is real.
danger. It's horrible.
Stranger danger.
Unless it's a realtor, then
And-
answer.
Yeah, then answer that call.
It wouldn't be a hardcore mortgage real estate show without, again, a reminder about the scammers out there. They are ruthless. And I'm getting the text. I'm getting the strange phone calls. Folks, they're all scammers.
Yeah, and even if you get something in the mail, take a
Everything's a
picture of it
scammer.
and send it to us.
Yes.
We'll say yes or no.
I just had an agent on one of our coaching calls in the morning. I think she was in Indiana, but her son just wired his money to the wrong place.
Oh my
boy.
God! Stop. That is like my
shame.
biggest fear.
Let's go there, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Shame
It's
on the
real.
lender.
Yeah.
Shame on the mom, the realtor. Shame on
Yeah.
the new real. Everyone involved. It's your job to step up your game and say, buyer beware. These are what are going to happen. We send videos out. Listen, you got to call Capital Mortgage Funding, folks.
You do
If
gotta call
anyone out
Capital
there,
Mortgage
Yeah.
Funding.
friends or family, every agent who works with me says, Harvey, I love these videos that you send our client, and we're constantly reminding the next step, and then look out. I like those little videos.
Yeah, I mean the predators are getting better and better. Now I will say this because this is again like you have to be in it. You have to
Yes.
see it. So like even I had a transaction, and wire fraud is a thing, man.
Yeah,
It is real.
100%.
Is the day is here and. So anyway, so we're about to get it clear to close, and all of a sudden I can see my email with my peripherals just like exploding. I'm like, that's really weird. I'm like, this transaction coordinator is a little bit too active over here for no reason. So anyway, 2 seconds later, my client calls me and was like, yeah, I just got this, email saying that you want me to like Zelle XYZ.
Oh,
and I was
Lord.
like,
Yeah.
send me that email. Absolutely not. The numbers I told you from, she's like, but you said the numbers come from you. I go, yes, they do. So send me the email. And then immediately I was able to find out the reason why the transaction coordinator was so active is because they hacked the transaction coordinator on the real estate side's email.
They got scammed.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
immediately, it was like, change your passwords. I let everyone know, whatever. But once you send that money, it is gone.
It's gone.
And that's where like some people are not comfortable with the cashier's check. So again, it all kind of ties it together earlier.
Yeah.
If we can get an exception and you can do a cashier's check, we're going to call the title company and try to get that, because if you're not careful and one number is even off, bye-bye.
Jimmy,
Yeah.
it's okay to train your new transaction coordinator. It's okay to remind her that she's new, and that's okay. But give her all that education and buyer beware stuff for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. It's again because once that money's gone.
Oh my God. Yikes.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
That music's telling us we're done already. We're just heating up.
man,
here.
This
we were
might
just
have been
getting
the
rolling.
fastest one of them all. Like, Jimmy, I appreciate you so much.
Oh, thanks for having me again. As usual.
Listen, Jimmy Nelson, you are the best of the best, a leader among leaders. You keep doing your thing. Your podcast is fire. You're fire. And you're welcome in that seat any old time.
I appreciate you guys.
I'll drop that for you, Jimmy. You got the Elite Podcast.
Yep.
Check it out. Jimmy Nelson. It's all about coaching and mortgages and real estate and everything to do about real estate and motivation.
Life.
That's it. Mindset.
Yeah, mindset.
All right, we got sports for you all day here on 97.1 The Ticket. Keep it. We got Pat Caputo, Mark Ryan. They'll be coming up next. We'll see you next Saturday.